Back with another episode of Circle of Trades. I'm Todd Studer, and Travis Waldstein is out and about on what looks to be a pretty day outside, but from what I've heard, it's not the prettiest from your project that you're currently on.
Oh yeah, it's a great day. So we're in beautiful Council Bluffs, Iowa, and we're at a site today that, dude wipes and other things besides toilet paper are not meant to be flushed down the city drain. So we're going to give you a little example of some of the stuff we get to do when you do stuff like this. So,
are we suddenly shooting an episode of Dirty Jobs? Because this is sounding like, man, I can't even imagine. You got somebody down a hole digging stuff out right now? Is that what's going on?
Well, the hole's actually dug, but Bailey actually cleaned her face off. She was dirty as hell before, so I don't think she's overly abused by it. So, so let me flip my camera around here if I figure out how to do that. So we're gonna walk over here. So I don't know what you can see, but obviously we're out here today. This is what we call our vac trailers. So this is where we come through and we get to dig holes, and we have our excavator that we like to dig stuff with. And that excavator is a lot of fun. So, and now we come over to the job site. You got the one and only Hayden Wallstein digging down in a hole, cutting pipe. So, and this all started because somebody decided they wanted to use dude wipes. So he's down the hole cutting it out, and we get to cut that section out because of what it was. And there's that piece of plastic with them O-rings there, and so we get to put that piece of pipe back together so they can use the bathroom. Kind of an important little detail in life. So as he continues to do that, I'm gonna walk you over. I'll flip it around. You look at me for a second.
All right.
Well, so we're gonna walk over to the southwest corner of the house. And see, we get to do neat things like get utilities marked and all this fun stuff, all this yellow, orange, and blue. And then we get to come over and we get to turn around and you see these things called tree roots. So we get to dig all this fun stuff out. And this piece over on the left on the right that's white, that is what we call clean out. So if you ever have to have your sewer cleaned out, there's one that goes into the house and one that goes outside of the house. So that is a code requirement. So you have somebody like me who shows up and makes it a heck of a lot less expensive than having to do it the other way. So this is fun on a Wednesday afternoon in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And then we see quality work like this that somebody did in the past with this fern comb that's off kilter there. That's not supposed to be like that. So remember this, kids. If you ever wanted to be a plumber, this is some of the stuff my guys get to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why your guys make money, because not everyone is well, you can send anybody down into a hole in the street to dig that out, but not everybody wants to.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, this gets to be an expensive proposition as far as what they're trying, what we're trying to do. I mean, we have to have the vac excavator here, which you can see they're putting the hoses back on. We're having to cut stuff up. I mean, this is just not, we got to bring trailers down, and we get to interrupt the entire freaking neighborhood. It's a good time. So, and then I get to stand around and look important because that's what I do at this point.
So you're calling them dude wipes, but I'm assuming you can't really know whether it's that or whether maybe it's baby wipes that, somebody with children have that are sending them down.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be one and the same. Either way, you're not supposed. I don't care what it says in the package. Do not flush them. If it ain't toilet paper or number one or number two, it don't need to go down there. So, but just know that if you do and you think you're immune to it, that it's called pay me now or pay me later. So.
Well, and I'm sure that whose ever house this is we're not identifying it, but
oh no, absolutely not.
I think we managed to keep their address off there.
Yes,
but yeah, that's one of a simple tip, I think, that can end up saving you a ton of money later.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. This is the stuff that we do that we run into, and I mean, this is an everyday occurrence, you know. So, you know, when everybody says that, hey, they're just a plumber, or just this or just that, you know, people find out really quick, you know, on an everyday occurrence, you know, what's involved with plumbing and how important it is in their house. I mean, it's just super important as far as you know what we do because if you don't have water and you don't have place to go to the bathroom, frankly, people get lost or they got to go to the truck stop or they have to go to the YMCA or to a family's house. I mean, you don't realize it's a simple thing we deal with every day, but you take it for granted.
Yeah, that's and it's just one of those facts of life. And there's a lot of things that probably a lot of people do that ends up costing them money later. I'm thinking, on the HVAC side, I'm thinking, how often you get in there and somebody hasn't changed their furnace filter for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and it causes all kinds of problems. Or I'm guessing, dude wipes are not the only thing that you've ever dug out of a pipe.
Oh no, I mean they've got different stuff like they've got you know I hate to say it, needles, I mean condoms, I mean you name it, you thought of it, it's probably been in the system at one point or the other. So you know like I said, you know it is the thing, you know, when you do this stuff you don't realize the issues that it causes. So you know, and I don't wish this on anybody, if you know what I'm saying. So but unfortunately, when it does happen, the good part is there's professionals that are willing to come out and take care of this for you. I mean, you know, because once this is done, to kind of get the idea, they had to cut the corner of the driveway. You know, they got to fill it back in. They got to fill it back in. We have to have a concrete guy come back and fill this in. I mean, unfortunately, none of this stuff we're talking about is cheap, not cheap, and it's labor. It's labor intensive. So, and you know, when you're dealing with the red clay, you know, let's see if I can get a picture of what that red clay looks like. So, I'll flip that around. So your red clay right there, where he's getting ready to cut that at. I mean, you know, we have to buy special tools just so we can snap that off clean. We either take a grinder, or if you know, 6, 8, or 10 inch, then we have to, you know, there's actually snap chains that we actually use to snap that stuff loose. I mean, you know, unfortunately, it's part of the job. So, and then we have to put it back together and make sure it's mechanically sound, you know, before you put it back into service. So, you know, lots involved. And, you know, I hate to say, you've heard the old saying, you know, shit rolls downhill. Well, you know, I mean, I hate to say it, that is a fact in life. You know, it is a reality in what we do. So,
Well,
but,
on my morning show this morning, I was talking about how it was a Chamber of Commerce day and just how nice the weather was and how great it would be to be outside. I wasn't anticipating recording this because I
oh
said, hey, you
no.
got projects to do outside today. It'd be a great day to do them. And next thing you know, here's the Waldsteins showing up with all their equipment to unplug a pipe that shouldn't have been in that position anyway.
Oh no, absolutely not. You know, and that's just it. You know, here's the deal. It's a lot better to do this than when it's -5 or when it's 94 degrees. Here's the problem. When it's -5 or 94 degrees, guess what we're still doing? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, I mean, we're still out doing this. So, you know, it's just a part of doing business, and you have to have the equipment to be involved with it. And unfortunately for the homeowner, it becomes a homeowner of the business. It becomes an inconvenience, you know. But you don't realize how important it is. And if you have a septic, you know, at least with the city was able to come in and, you know, blow out the main line out in the street. So, but if you're on a septic, it's even worse because what happens if you're on a septic is it's not the city's problem, it's your problem at that point. So, you know, and replacing a septic's not any more fun than replacing a 6-inch line that, you know, that we're doing. So, you know, but it's all part of the day's work. Now I always say we don't have to do this every day usually, but it's become more the norm than the exception. And you know, with today's plumbing, one of the biggest things that people don't realize is, you know, your gallons per flush. You know, back in the, even the early '90s, you'd have 3, 4, 5 gallon flushes. Well, now everything's a gallon and a half, 3/4 of a gallon
Right.
they've reduced. And so the problem is, honestly, you don't get a lot of water to punch a lot of stuff down, the sewer that you would have 30 years ago. So in the name of water conservation. But now what's happened is you got all these drain companies out here because the way the sewers have been designed, and they've been around for 100 years, they're not designed for this. So, and that's why this. I hate to say this because more the norm, but it's not the exception anymore. If you know what I'm saying. So I mean, it's serious. It's sucks for the customer, and I mean, we'd rather be able to just blow it out if we need to, and then walk away. But sometimes you're not able to do that. So.
Is this, I mean, how long you guys been at it and how much longer do you have? I mean, how long of a project is this?
We should, looks like from what we're doing here, we should have it done this afternoon yet. We've got to wait for the city inspector to come up and inspect our work for what we found. And, what come back, they'll come back once they do that, they sign off on it. Then we'll fill it back in, so which that's not too bad. In the city, it counts plus the inspectors. I don't care if it's the chief inspector, plumber, mechanic, or even in Pot County. The inspectors are really good to deal with. We have good relationships with the inspectors. Basically, I tell anybody is if they have to go into a project like this here in town, is make sure that whoever you have doing it, whether it's us or there's other good companies at Council Bluffs. I don't want to take away from him. Making sure that they're licensed and they're doing their permits and inspections, because this is something. This isn't something you're going to do without permits and inspections. Somebody's going to want to take a look at it, before we put it back into service. And you want to take a look. Not, I trust my guys with their work, but it's kind of a trust but verify situation. As if the city looks at it, and if there's a problem after the fact with the repair, then the city assumes the liability for it. So we want them to look at the work when we're done. So
That's a really good point. And plus, as you said, it's not like you don't trust your guys. I mean, they've been trained well, and they've known for doing good work. But at the same time, people can miss something and accidents can happen, and you would rather find out if there was a problem before that hole's covered up.
Oh, absolutely, and that's just it. That's, absolutely, because it's not any cheaper to dig it back up the second time. If you know what I'm saying, diesel feels cheap, trailers aren't cheap. I mean, but it's part of doing the job. So, and to protect yourself as a consumer, you want, I want somebody to sign off because if you're spending 5, 10, 15, $20,000, I mean, you want to be sure it's done right. And here's the deal with the sewer lines. We tie into the city sewer, and so if we had to come out to the street and get into it, that just quadruples the price, because not only do we have to tie in, but then we have to, we have to do street repairs as well. And I'm going to tell you what, you get into the street, yeah, that's an expensive proposition right there. So.
Well, you're not in the street right now then?
No,
You're in the
no,
yard?
no, I'll flip this around. You can see the street,
Okay.
and then you can see they're actually on the owner's side of the sidewalk. So we're not actually, if you take a look at it, we're actually on their side of the lot line. So
Okay.
which is good. That's actually a whole lot better than, because if you take a look at the street here where these green lines are,
Hmm.
that's pretty much where the sewer. That's pretty much where the sewer line is going to run. And if you got to tie into that, that's not a happy day. So, and concrete's not cheap, and you got the curbs, and you got everything else you have to deal with. So,
And at that point, you're blocking traffic and
yeah.
rerouting traffic. That was going on. Well, it was down on Broadway in Council Bluffs just recently. There was a project that was blocking the street. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that starts to create a whole new problem, and also safety issue for your guys. Being
Hmm.
out in traffic and that kind of thing. So it's good that it's staying right there. But I'm also imagining that when Hayden called you and said, "Hey, Dad, I need your help," he the help he needed wasn't you coming down and recording a podcast, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. Actually, I'm going to take you over. He's got that sleeve in, so I'm going to flip my phone around so you can see, and now you look down the hole, you can
Right.
see where we coupled that back in. So that's considered a mechanical repair, and once the city signs off on that, that will fill that back in. As far as what we're doing. Good part with this hole here is it's not very deep. It's well under 3 foot. But let's say there's some areas of town where it's 5 or 10 foot deep.
Hmm.
That's where you run into to where If it's that deep, then we have to get shoring involved, because the last thing we want is somebody, we don't want the walls falling in, on that, or get somebody hurt. So, there's a lot involved, a lot of risk, a lot of safety deals. Luckily, this is what I consider a fairly, simple repair, all in all, with things. But it's just a part of what we do. So.
Well, it's been kind of interesting here to be virtually on a job site with you and
There,
seeing everything that's going on. And I was kind of wondering how this was going to go when you called me and said, "Hey, let's do this." And I said, "All right, well, let's give it a shot, see what happens."
there you go. Well, the best way to see what we do and what we talk about. So when we're here, look at this. That way, if a person runs into it, every situation can be a little bit different, but that way you're not caught in shock. You
Hmm.
realize that, hey, listen, concrete costs money. Cast iron, PVC costs money, wire lines cost money, and so you really shouldn't take this stuff for granted. I mean, you go to Menards or Home Depot and you price PVC. Guess what? The PVC is going to be the cheapest part of this project. It's everything else that's involved with it that's going to
Right.
cost you the money. The PVC is nothing, or the couplers, or what we have to do. So,
So just
but
holding pattern on the waiting on the inspector now. Is that where you're at?
pretty much waiting on the inspector. And I knew we were doing this, and I said, we had a picture at 1 o'clock to where that hole, it was all plugged up with dude wipes and whatever else. And the city's got these trucks to where what they'll do is they know where their mains are at, so they'll come in, find the manhole, and they'll push it out to the street and make sure that street, because if he's having a problem, in this block there's 4 houses. Who's to say that, two other houses weren't having a problem that they don't know about? It's in their best interest to make sure that that street's clean, because, they don't want to have a problem on the entire block, because that just creates more problems for them. So.
All righty. Well, thank you for the on the spot update. And it's like a something from Les Nessman and WKRP right now. If you start to see turkeys falling out of the sky,
Yeah,
then
yeah. Yeah. Well, John Deere once said the one thing he won't stand behind is a manure spreader. So keep that in mind. So.
all righty, sir. Grateful for your time. Thank you very much. And maybe next time you'll be in front of a microphone instead of standing next to a sewer pipe.
Hey, you know what? Or an air conditioner. Who knows when we might be at you next week. So.